BBC Radio Newcastle, the two teams and the officials have gathered around the centre circle here at the City Ground, and we are about to remember and pay tribute to the former England manager Sven-Göran Eriksson, who died earlier this week. The former England manager who had a role just across the River Trent at Notts County during his career, remembered by fans and players at the City Ground. The Newcastle team, including two Swedes, his compatriots Emil Kraft and Alexander Isak. Anthony Elanga for Forest on the benches, Swedish as well. And now the teams line up and we're almost ready to go. Forest, goalkeeper Carlos Miguel, all in light blue. Outfield players, red shirts, white shorts, red socks. Eric Da Silva Moreira, Zach Abbott, Willy Foley, Andrew Omobamidele and Alex Moreno at the back. Ramon Sosa, Nicolas Dominguez, Elliot Anderson, Shota Silva in midfield, Taiwo Awoniyi up front, and Newcastle United, Pope, Trippier, Kraft, Byrne, Hall, Tonali, Willock, Joelinton, Almiron, Barnes and Isak. Newcastle United against Nottingham Forest in the second round of the League Cup. It's Sandro Tonali's return to action after 10 months. Here's his first touch, up to Almiron, away for Isak, who's in already. Alexander Isak into the penalty area. Good save. Goal! Willock with a tap in, and Newcastle United have scored inside 20 seconds at the City Ground. Tonali involved in the move, playing it to Almiron, through for Isak, shot saved, put away the rebound by Joe Willock. What a start. Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 1.
Unbelievable. What a start. You couldn't ask for better, could you really? Inside 15 seconds. I mean, they have the kick-off. Forest, they knock it straight back. The keeper, go long. The straight ball just dissects two centre-backs. A great little run by Isak. Good save by the keeper. Willock following up. Knocks it into an empty net.
Isak
great start.
Got away right of centre, spilled by the debutant goalkeeper Carlos Miguel, straight into the path of Joe Willock, who couldn't keep his balance, stumbled, but made sure the ball hit the back of the net. And an incredible start. Well, positivity is certainly needed. They have it from Tonali and the team, and they have it through this early lead. To score like that in the first piece of play in the game, quite remarkable. Here's Awoniyi for Forest as Pope comes towards the penalty spot to pick the ball up. Newcastle United lead 1-0 at the City Ground, and that's a blistering, electric start. Attacking intent from the off. Fancied Isak to finish. I'm sure you did as well.
Sort of scuffed the shot, didn't he? And there's a lot of that keeper to get down as well. He's a big boy.
6'8". Maybe you have to go low against him rather than high. Lewis Hall, ball at the line, blocked by Nottingham Forest. Into the penalty area now for Awoniyi. And Dan Byrne with an important block to stop the cross coming in, but it's kept alive as Lewis Hall makes amends with a tackle. And now Harvey Barnes onto goal scorer Joe Willock. Isak's gone down, but Willock gets away. Up the left, Almiron wants it played through. And it's back inside to Isak. Tonali might be in. Sandro Tonali, it's saved. Oh, that would have been almost too perfect.
Should have scored.
Tonali with an opportunity as the goalkeeper advanced up his line. Right-footed, just inside the area. Big save from Carlos Miguel. Denied his big moment, and it remains 1-0 to Newcastle United. Still in the 3rd minute.
They're all over the place at the back, Forest. Huge gaps appearing. Just shows the rustiness though, doesn't it? You've been out that length of time. It's got all the goal to aim at. Hits the keeper with it.
Well, as Eddie Howe has said repeatedly, that is the sort of thing that in training you can't replicate.
No, exactly.
Match experience, doing it for real in competitive football. He had a hand in the goal, scored by Willock, and they could have had another one there, Newcastle. Sandro Tonali so close to giving them a second. Newcastle 6 changes tonight, Forest with 10 changes. Here's Lewis Hall looking for Willock. It almost came for Tonali, but Elliot Anderson for Nottingham Forest got a touch in midfield, and now the home team on the attack. Ramon Sosa up the left wing. An opportunity for the ball to be delivered, but the cross from Alex Moreno is blocked. Back it comes. Jota Silva. Joe Linton. It's his big body in the way, and then Tonali with a stab forwards, looking for Isak on halfway. Forest through Omar Bamidele. Back to goalkeeper Carlos Miguel. 1-0 Newcastle. Willy Bolly back to the goalkeeper once more. Isak closes down. And the clearance into the United half. Headed on to Awonyi. Given away to Hall. Given away by Hall to Nicolas Dominguez. And now wide right, Jota Silva. Hangs up the cross. Player arriving in the middle. Awonyi, the big centre forward, over the top. He got underneath the header, but it could have been a decent opportunity for him.
Can't keep giving it away in those areas. Young Hall's got to learn. He's got to learn quick. You can't keep giving it away back in that area, or you're in trouble.
5 minutes played on BBC Radio Newcastle. What a start it was. Tonali to Almiron, Isak, and then Willock scoring, and then Isak setting up Tonali just inside the box. He's went to nutmeg the keeper, but the keeper, who's 6'8", stuck out his gigantic left leg and made the block. Almost Tonali, almost. Back to Pope from Byrne and out to Hall. Jason Tyndall, the Newcastle assistant manager, having a word with Lewis Hall a minute ago and telling him to play forwards. He's done so that time. Alexander Isak's been fouled on halfway. He looks hurt, Isak. Might have been the way that he landed. There's been a change of referee tonight as well. Sam Allison, who refereed Newcastle at Fulham last season, was also referee in Gateshead's FA Trophy final win at Wembley in May. He was due to be 4th official. He is now the referee. He has replaced John Brooks. So Sam Allison from Wiltshire, referee. Adrian Holmes and Wade Smith are the assistants. Lewis Hall with a good cross from the left. Really dangerous ball in. Almiron's got there on the far side into the corner after the defender didn't really know how to deal with it, and Newcastle have kept it alive in the Forest half with Emil Kraft onto Almiron. Trippier up the line, but they go back to Kraft, and Joe Linton inside next to the centre circle, leading 1-0. Tonali back to Kraft first time. Kraft under pressure from Anderson, go all the way back to Pope. 4th official is Stephen Martin. And you remember the championship game they played here in 2016 when they had 2 sent off, 2 penalties, goal disallowed, all of that. He was the controversial referee that night. And he's back on duty, Newcastle against Forest at the City Ground again in a late change. Stephen Martin, 4th official. They lead 1-0. What do you make of the play, John Anderson, in the opening 8 minutes?
It's end-to-end. Oh, they've given it away again. Almiron's given it away.
Awonyi, 10 yards outside the area, needs support. It's gone wide left, and the cross into the 6-yard box. Pope hasn't got it. Dan Burn hooks it clear after Nick Pope couldn't claim. Came off his line. Jota Silva was in the middle. The ball looped up off the Forest player beyond Pope. Dan Burn got it away.
Yeah, Pope went to claim it, missed it. Dan Burn hooked it off the line.
Nicolas Dominguez to Elliot Anderson. He was on the bench, came on in the first match of the season, started at Southampton. Anderson, ball played out to this right wing. Joe Willock with a tackle. Forest fans appealing for a penalty. They've been awarded a corner kick. Willock's challenge, which was a fairly strong one, went shoulder to shoulder, wasn't it, on Eric Da Silva Moreira, the right wing back. And Willock's hurt himself in the process, so it'll be a corner for Nottingham Forest after they've made sure that Joe Willock's all right.
Good tackle.
It might have been the follow-up, Ando, after the initial tackle from Willock.
Oh, he got lucky, Nick Pope, didn't he? Looked like a keeper's ball all night.
Back to that chance for Jota Silva then, when the cross came in, and Pope went for the ball and missed it. Newcastle got away with it, and Joe Willock then coming together. I think it was a second challenge as Moreira went to win the ball back, and it led to the corner, and Joe Willock is receiving treatment. He
looks like a dead leg.
He scored Newcastle's goal tonight, leading 1-0 in the 10th minute. At the minute they are making sure that he's going to be able to carry on. Sean Longstaff and Bruno Guimaraes are ordered to warm up along the touchline. They've rolled him over, Joe Willock, onto his front. Still receiving treatment. Listen to BBC Radio Newcastle. 1-0 Newcastle United, and still we wait. Joe Willock talking to the physio. Referee Sam Allison is having a look at the situation as well. Willock slowly onto his feet. Bruno and Longstaff jogging along the touchline. Hopefully he'll be able to come on. The time of the goal, 18 seconds from Joe Willock, from just behind the 6-yard line after Isak's shot was parried into his path. What a start. And now they've got to defend a corner as Forest look for an equaliser. Willock's had treatment, seems to be moving all right. They're going to send him back on when the fourth official is happy. The players normally have to come off for 30 seconds after receiving treatment. Here's the corner from the right, outswinger, it's flat, headed as far as Alex Moreno, and it's a blocked shot, or Newcastle might have the chance to break. Harvey Barnes challenged near to halfway, and no foul, says referee Sam Allison. Ramon Sosa with the sliding tackle. Not too many appeals from black and whites out there, and we play on with Nottingham Forest in possession, and the counter-attack attempt thwarted.
Not every time a player goes down is it a foul, although it's what everybody wants.
Awonyi over the halfway line, the big striker. Nice move this from Nottingham Forest. Awonyi now on a burst into the box, stopped by Emil Kraft, who sticks it out for a throw. Nottingham Forest on the attack on this near right hand side, probably about in line with the penalty spot. It's 1-0 to Newcastle. Wolves are a goal up on Burnley in one of the other ties, and Ipswich lead 1-0 at Wimbledon. Cardiff 1, Southampton 1 is another latest score. Forest lob the throw into the area, headed away by Joelinton. Header inside from Dominguez. Almiron left-footed hooks it clear. It bounces in the centre circle, and Zach Abbott. For Forest to Elliot Anderson. 55 Newcastle United appearances, Anderson, after coming through the academy. Willy Bolly back to goalkeeper Carlos Miguel. Header on there.
Tell you what, he gets up well for a little man.
He's got quite a leap, the Portuguese winger. And now the attack continues. Moreira into the box, back towards the 18-yard line. Almiron, sharp play to nip in and win it, and then win a free kick on the turn. Jota Silva, good going forwards. Not so good there for Forest, impeding Almiron. Free kick for Newcastle in a midfield position, and they're going to have to make a change, and Joe Willock looks unable to continue. Bruno Guimaraes is ready to come on in the 14th minute, and Willock scoring after 18 seconds, his first start of the season. It's
bad luck on the lad, isn't it? Every time
sad for Willock. It's great to have Tonali back, but Joe Willock's woes with injuries just continue, and he's going to have to come off.
Every time you think he's on the way back, he gets a start and doesn't last. It's tough on the boy. He's had his fair share of injuries.
And they could have brought on Sean Longstaff, but it's Bruno who's ready. And Kieran Trippier led Newcastle out. He's going to hand the armband over, you would think, to Bruno. Here's the numbers board. 28 off, 39 on. Willock leaving the pitch. Bruno his replacement. Let's hope that it's not serious for Willock and that they're not going to take any chances with him. Just 14 appearances last season for the midfielder. Gets a pat on the back from Bruno and makes his way across the Forest technical area towards the tunnel, which is not quite in the centre of the pitch, accompanied by a member of the medical staff. His evening started so well, and now it's over early, and a look of frustration, pain etched across his face. Bruno on, and Newcastle still lead 1-0 here on BBC Radio Newcastle. There's a ball up from Trippier towards Tonali. Did well under pressure, but there was too much pressure. He was pulled over. Quickly taken free kick for Newcastle by Trippier just past halfway. Barnes got Hall on the outside. Barnes drifts infield. Joelinton lays it off to Hall. Dangerous looking cross, but it's blocked. And the Forest clearance might run out of play. Dan Burn, in fact, will keep it in near to the touchline, middle of Newcastle's half. Left-footed pass into the centre to Kraft, onto Trippier. And they keep possession at the back with Kraft and Trippier exchanging passes. Not a lot of movement up ahead. Kraft on it again, closed down into Bruno. First time out to the right to Trippier. Forest challenge, but Bruno's got it back. And now Tonali on the right touchline, up the pitch towards Almiron, but intercepted. And a throw for Newcastle United. 10 to 15 yards behind halfway. 1-0 up. The 5th time clubs have been drawn together in this competition. Newcastle knocked out by Nottingham Forest at this stage in both 2017 and a year later. The first match was at St James's, and then in 2018 beaten here 3-1 by Forest. So perhaps no surprise that they were paired together this time. This is Hall and Barnes, 30 yards out, foot on the ball. Little flick back to Joelinton. Barnes again. Holds it nicely. Still has possession. Hall back to Joelinton, who gives him an angle, backpedaling into the United half. Byrne takes a touch. Back to Pope. Kraft is available just on the edge of the area. It's played into the path of the Swede. And Emil Kraft with Newcastle a goal up, looking for an option. Bruno comes short, back into the penalty box to Pope. It's patient and measured passing onto the chest of Hall. Slightly heavy touch, but he's got there. gives it to Barnes, gets it back again. Joe Linton in, away from Bolly. Tonali now on to Barnes, just outside the area. Barnes plays in, Miguel Almiron, good save. Low down the goalkeeper, got a firm hand behind it and shoveled it away and behind for a corner.
Great first time ball, Tonali. It's a good save. It's a good strike by Almiron. He's just tried to put it in that bottom right hand corner. Keeper gets down well, it's a strong hand. Corner from that far hand side.
BBC Radio Newcastle. Now they're looking for a second goal here in the 19th minute. Left-footed corner from Lewis Hall. Round the back, Joe Linton heads it up across the 6-yard box, and his fellow Brazilian Carlos Miguel catches and kicks left-footed from the edge of the area. Not the best, but it has found Elliot Anderson in midfield. Anderson holds off Tonali and sets Forest on their way. Awonyi trying to win a header at the edge of the area. It's come across to Trippier, and now it's lifted up the line to Almiron, down on his chest. Came on in the final minute, Almiron, at Bournemouth at the weekend.
Game's so stretched, isn't it? It's unbelievable how stretched it is.
Almiron's first
great entertainment, great to watch.
Start of the season, he had involvement in the goal and he had an opportunity to make it 2-0 to Newcastle, as has Tonali. Nottingham Forest with a couple of moments, notably the one where Nick Pope came for a cross and it got away from him, but Dan Burn hooked it clear just in front of the line. And the ball is now on halfway, right side, Tonali to Trippier, back inside to Tonali. Short passes between those two. They've given it to Kraft. It comes across to Burn. Nobody in Forest red within 10-15 yards of Burn, who makes his way up to halfway. Barnes inside, helping it on, first time right footed. It reaches the edge of the Forest area and Omar Bamadeli plays it back to the goalkeeper. Again, not the best clearance. Tonali's header, Barnes has got it, back to Hall, inside to Burn, and Newcastle winning possession back. Nottingham Forest a bit cheap with it. Bruno, he's got Jota Silva on his shoulder, but he gets away from him and carries on his run up the right side. Almiron, Trippier for support, comes to Kieran Trippier, back to Almiron, closed down, finds Bruno, has to turn away. Jota Silva all over him again, and Newcastle are awarded a free kick. They've taken it really quickly. I'm not sure the ball had stopped and was dead, but they've been allowed to play on, not hanging about here. It's been a positive start. Joe Willock's goal after 18 seconds, but he's since gone off injured, replaced by Bruno. Barnes on the near left-hand side, skips infield, away from his man, still Barnes, over to Tonali. Threads one through, but it's overhit. Almiron, the intended recipient. Goalkeeper picks it up. Yeah,
you could see what he was trying to do. Great spot as well. Just overhit the pass. Just a little bit too much pace on it.
Tonali has been really prominent.
Left-footed kick from the goalkeeper. That's a better one, isn't it? He's found a teammate on the left wing. Could have been a foul, but referee says play on. Ramon Sosa. Now to Alex Moreno. That's a good ball in. It's a great ball in. Left-footed along the 6-yard line. Hall can't get it away. Now a dink from Moreira. Kept in on the far side, in the corner on the left by Nottingham Forest. Trippier and Almiron are there, and Almiron's conceded a corner.
Yeah, a couple of good little balls played in, wasn't it? Cross goal. So end.
They've got a lively player in the 25-year-old Portuguese international Jota Silva, and Alex Moreno needs no invitation to get up the pitch from the left side. Here's the corner, right-footed, Pope on the stretch, pushes it away. It's Almiron on the near side, sprinting across to get it, and he's won a throw at left back. He's helped Newcastle defend that situation. Lewis Hall picks the ball up, restored to the team tonight in one of 6 changes. Pope in goal, Trippier, Kraft, Burn, Hall. Tonali, Bruno, Joelinton. Joelinton who's given it away to Awoniyi. Here's a chance, but the shot is blocked by Kraft.
Great block.
Ramon Sosa with the effort from inside the penalty area. Front three of Almiron, Barnes and Isak. It's the Newcastle team, but Bruno had to come on for the injured Willock. Still have the 1-0 lead, Newcastle, as Forest with the ball in midfield. Dominguez to Anderson. Squad number 8 for his new club. On it again, Elliot Anderson with a nice ping to the near side, taken down on the chest by Moreira, the 18-year-old fullback. Inside to Anderson, flat cross headed away by Bruno, edge of the area. Dominguez has then lost it to Almiron, and he looks for another black and white shirt. He's found Joelinton into space for Harvey Barnes to race onto. Isak on the far side, Barnes edge of the area, taking on 2 red shirts. Now back to Joelinton, a touch and then a hit from Joelinton off target.
Yeah, that's not his forte, is it? It's a long way wide.
Great position though.
Yeah, he's tried to whip it, but he's got nothing on it. Good ball played in behind for Barnes. I mean, Forrest pushing so many people forward, they're leaving so many gaps that when you break on them, gets it back, Barnes pulls it inside to him. He's tried to whip it, tried to wrap his right foot round it, didn't get enough on it. Always well wide.
A couple of Forest substitutes, including former Newcastle striker Chris Wood, who got 15 goals last season, have gone out to warm up. It's gone from the goal kick for a Newcastle throw. 1-0 in front, could have had a couple more. Lewis Hall to Bruno, chested back to Hall, lifted over the heads of Forest players to Bruno, helped on towards Barnes, but collected by Willy Bolly, the centre half, who has the captain's armband tonight. Hall with a challenge close to the halfway line. It's come to Nicolas Dominguez, and there's space on the far side, and dipping diagonal ball controlled on the chest by Alex Moreno, edge of the area, still going, rolled over to the near side. Moreira tries to find someone at the back post. Joelinton with a flick, half clear. Trippier makes a challenge, then Anderson, snapshot at the angle over the top.
Yeah, rush of blood, wasn't it? Just fell to him. Always leaning back, always going well over the top of the crossbar.
It was at that end of the City ground last March that Elliot Anderson scored what should have been his first and only Newcastle senior goal, but it was ruled out, and incorrectly so, as the PGMOL later admitted following a VAR check. A good header back across goal, and he did score in the shootout at Blackburn in the FA Cup last season. He scored in friendlies but didn't, frustratingly for him, score a goal in a competitive environment that counted for Newcastle. His new team Forest are on the attack again. Jota Silva, edge of the area. United leading 1-0, and they've won it back with Bruno, who's been dispossessed. Dominguez. Only Isak ahead of the ball for Newcastle. 26th minute. Cross is blocked, and it's come to Isak, laid off to Bruno, and they're looking to get numbers forwards here as Bruno, middle of the United half, goes back to Hall, caught after the ball had been played by Jota Silva, and the whistle has gone. Wimbledon have equalised against Ipswich in one of tonight's other ties, but a few other goals. Wolves 1-0 up on Burnley. Cardiff losing 2-1 at home to Southampton. Wickham are 1-0 up at Swansea. And it's 0-0 between Colchester and Brentford, and West Ham and Bournemouth, the other all Premier League tie. Throw for Newcastle on the near side. Lewis Hall, the ball in his hands, 25 yards up from his own goal line. Gets it back, almost got it back from Joelinton, but it's out of play. It's not the kind of technical skill that you expect to see. Short ball, it should have gone back to the thrower, out of play, and it's Nottingham Forest's ball this time. Dropped lobbed in towards the chest of Awoniyi. Now you can't be offside from a throw, so what have they given? Was it handball?
No, it's foul throw.
Oh. There's some confusion on the pitch and among the Forest players. Awoniyi in particular. But Newcastle have a throw, so that must be the call. Lewis Hall looking for Tonali. Volley all over him. Possession recovered by the home side. Abbott, the teenager, up from the back, away from a couple of black and white shirts. Tonali sticking with Moreno on the far side. Almiron makes a challenge, and Newcastle have regained possession. Tonali and Almiron did well there together. Bruno wins a throw and is helped up to his feet by Dominguez, who made the challenge. Kieran Trippier has the ball in his hands. Kraft is a long way back in the corner, but he's unmarked, and that's where it goes. Got a bit of time and space at the back. Emil Kraft inside to Pope, lifted over the head of Awoniyi, and Lewis Hall on his chest starts to come forwards. Barnes available up the line. Harvey Barnes gets it, turned inside, went for the return ball to Hall, and it's out of play. Nottingham Forest to take the throw, and Newcastle sloppy there. John Anderson.
Yeah, sloppy. I mean, it's just a 5-yard ball, isn't it? He just knocks it straight out of play. Burns.
Just looking at Tonali there, bent over. Ball was waiting to come in. Just looked like he was blowing a bit, which is
only to be expected.
Yeah. That's what we've just seen from him. He's been involved in a lot of the play, certainly was in the early stages, first 10 or 15 minutes. We've now had half an hour, and Newcastle still lead 1-0. Hall with an important header at the edge of the box. Joelinton trying to get away, and he stabbed it forward to Barnes. Only Almiron and Isak with him in the Forest half. Barnes on the outside, Anderson snapping at his heels. He's played a ball back to Hall on halfway, and Lewis Hall comes inside Tonali, still looking absolutely shattered.
He's blowing, isn't he?
Yeah. Straight back, bent over, hands on his knees.
This is what I was saying. You know, people shouldn't expect too much. I mean, he's been out 10 months.
He's just gone down, and they're going to bring medical team on.
He's blowing.
Yeah, if they can get him, well, let's hope it's not an injury, but if they can get him to half time, they have Sean Longstaff on the bench. Just seen a picture of Joe Willock as well, scorer of Newcastle's goal after 18 seconds, and they still lead 1-0 with an ice pack on his thigh. Tonali, 2 members of staff with him. Just checking him out. He's next to the centre spot.
See, you can train as much as you want. This is the point I was trying to make. You know, train, but there's no substitution for game time and the pace of games. You don't train at the pace of games. And you see him here, he's blowing big style.
Well,
and it's
it was full throttle from the start from Tonali in the lead up to the goal, and then the chance that he had that you said, Ando, that he should have put away, and he almost did.
Yeah, but
hit the leg of the goalkeeper. So look, he hasn't eased himself into the game, but we've reached just past the half hour mark.
He hasn't been able to ease his way into the game because of the pace of the game.
And that might have been something that he could have done had he been introduced for the final 25 minutes or something, if Newcastle had been in a different position. But they've gone with
that's all ifs and buts.
Yeah, but they've gone with him from the start tonight, which you said you thought that they would, because
so
then they
still think it's the right thing to do.
Start him and then take him off if they need to, which is very unlikely that he would ever play 90 minutes tonight.
No, you never expected it.
Almiron's won it back in the corner. Tonali waiting to come back on, so Newcastle down to 10 for a temporary period. And they've won a goal kick. Emil Kraft with a challenge. Enthusiastic applause from the away supporters after the referee pointed to the 6-yard line to signal goal kick. Tonali back on into midfield, and it's Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 1. What do you think of their overall performance, the 11 so far?
I think it's been like jumpers and playgrounds from both sides. It's been so open, it's been so stretched. It's been good to watch from that point of view. I think from a coach's point of view, I think they'll all think it's far too.
Bouncing ball, Dan Burn didn't quite deal with it. It hit Awonyi and ended up in the hands of Nick Pope.
I'm sure Eddie Howe's down there thinking this is way too open.
Poor with the ball, trying to stretch the Forest defence and get Barnes in, but it's blocked. And Omar Bamidele here with the ball at the heart of the Forest defence. It's his first appearance of the season. Former Norwich defender. 10 changes made by Nuno tonight. This is Pope, headed away by Dominguez in front of Joelinton. It's a really good header actually, and this might work out nicely for Forest. Ramon Sosa towards the corner on the left. 2 black and white shirts there, and plenty of others defending in the penalty area. Back towards the halfway line, and Abbott has played it short to Elliot Anderson. And now Omar Bamidele to Dominguez, and Abbott, the blonde-haired Forest Academy graduate. Bolly in the centre of the home team half of the pitch. They're going to come up this near side now. Moreira up the line. Joelinton across to intercept. It's a throw. Couldn't keep it in, but it halted their initial progress, which was looking promising. Joelinton inside to the centre of midfield to Bruno. Over to Trippier. He's having to sprint to try to keep it in, and has done so. Then makes a second challenge, finds Almiron. Well played by Trippier. Great ball inside to Tonali, and likewise from Tonali onto Almiron. Excellent Newcastle play. Isak gives Almiron an option just outside the area, far side of the pitch, looking for Almiron again, but Isak couldn't really get it completely under his spell, and it's back with the Forest goalkeeper.
Yeah, there was a couple of 50-50s. We wanted it a bit more than they did. They were dangling legs. We were making sure we were winning it.
10 minutes plus additional time to the break. Anderson spins away from Tonali and still has it. Then his pass forwards is blocked by Trippier. Bruno to Joelinton, given away.
Just keep the ball.
Red shirt. And spread out to the near side in the attacking third. Moreira for Forest, heads for the goal line and overruns it under pressure from Lewis Hall. Goal kick.
Good defending, just showed him the line, shut down the space.
But Joelinton's given the ball away a few times tonight.
Got to be better.
Caught
Got to
for
be
the
better
goal
on it
Sunday as well. Needs to be sharper, John Anderson.
Hey, it's not difficult. They're not difficult passes, and that's 3 or 4 times now he's given it away. All of a sudden you're inviting pressure onto you.
We're on till 10:30 tonight on BBC Radio Newcastle, and we'd love your messages throughout the evening on the game or the transfer window on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Put BBC at the start of your message. They lead 1-0, but they're defending again. Jota Silva, blocked cross, throw near the corner flag on the near side.
Poor ball from Moreira, wasn't it? Didn't give Silva much chance.
And it's Eric De Silva Moreira, signed from St. Pauli in Germany last month for just over $1 million. And he's going to take the throw. Bolly at the near post. They look for the big defender, but Pope catches, and there's no hurry from Newcastle to get up the field. Some start to the game. Goal time from Joe Willock at 18 seconds. He's since gone off with an injury, replaced by Bruno. Tonali playing, needed a breather.
Did he not?
A good 5 minutes ago. He's still out there, hasn't seen much of the ball in the last few minutes. Did have that one pass for Almiron in the nice move a few moments ago, but his influence and involvement has faded. Here he is trying to help it on to Almiron up the line. It's just gone out, just past halfway.
It's the first touch he's had in a while, isn't it? He's just trying to get his breathing going again.
Cry of Eddie Howe's black and white army from the away section. Howe hands on hips in the middle of the technical area, all in black. Nuno wearing navy to his left, arms folded. Dan Burn across to Trippier, flicked up the line, that's nice, to Almiron. And Almiron going back towards his own goal line, but he was tripped. Referee Sam Allison awards a free kick for Newcastle United, who have a 1-0 lead in the 39th minute.
Platoon.
Probably a good thing that he won a free kick. He nutmegged Awonyi and then went flying. He would have probably would have conceded a corner, wouldn't he? And went out that side of the corner flag. Nick Pope well out of his box on the right with the free kick, hangs it up into the attacking half. Isak rises, helps it on. Harvey Barnes might have a chance just outside the area, left side. Barnes still going into the box, shifts it, then rolls it across the face of goal, collected by Almiron, back to Isak, takes a touch, drags it back, then Almiron again, edge of the area. Barnes, Hall is with him. Barnes has a shot that's blocked, and the block takes it all the way into the Newcastle half, where Dan Burn collects and plays up the pitch towards Lewis Hall. Joe Linton wide left. Barnes did well to shift it and then deliver the cross, but no one went for it. No one threw themselves to the 6-yard box to get on the end of it. Here's Tonali, curls it across to the far side, taken down by Trippier, back inside to Tonali, who's got some space, to the feet of Almiron. He's got 2 to take on, back to Trippier, 35 yards out from the Forest goal with a 1-0 lead. Joe Willock the scorer. Kraft, foot on the ball, onto Tonali, seeing quite a bit of it in this Newcastle move. Short passes in midfield and now across the back, and it's Joe Linton on the left, on halfway into Isak, tries to ping it towards Trippier and Almiron, but it's intercepted by Alex Moreno, and the Spanish fullback plays it up the pitch and gets a return ball from Ramon Sosa on the left side. Anderson to Dominguez in the centre circle for Nottingham Forest. Newcastle with
10 behind the ball.
Yeah, on a 4 and then a 5, and then Isak ahead of them. Abbott is the left of the Forest defenders. Bamadelli in the middle, Bolly to the right. And eventually between them they go back to Carlos Miguel, arrived from Corinthians in Brazil this summer. Here's Moreira. Challenge from Barnes. Throw is awarded to Newcastle United, just in front of Eddie Howe. Joe Linton back into play to Hall. Tonali comes to get it, controls with his right foot, has a look, thinks about a big switch from left central midfield. It's a shorter pass along the grass to Kraft, and he's gone for a switch back over to the near side to Hall. Takes it down, finds Barnes, carries on his run. He could have it back here, Hall, but Barnes instead drifts in and then comes out wide again, gives it to Hall eventually, takes it backwards, and Kraft in the centre circle, backpedaling as it comes to him, controls, first time from Trippier, return to Emil Kraft, and puts his foot on the ball 2 or 3 times, and
good ball
over to Lewis Hall, same pass that he played it a couple of moments ago. Isak gives him an angle, gets it in a deep position. Alexander Isak back towards Joe Linton, couldn't control, and Awonyi has it, and Jota Silva making the run in behind. Kraft covering, Pope comes out of goal, and a clearance from the keeper. It's a throw for Forest in their half of the pitch.
Yeah, it was more of a hopeful ball than anything. Good positioning by Nick Pope. Seen it coming, got himself to the edge of the penalty area, cleared his lines.
43 minutes and Newcastle have a 1-0 lead still. Other chances followed through Tonali, Almiron. Joelinton with a shot wide of the posts, but
what a dive.
Been able to increase their lead. There is now a free kick for Nottingham Forest on the right wing, 30 yards out.
Yeah, he was making sure he was getting the free kick, wasn't he?
The Newcastle defensive line is set up a couple of steps in front of the D. Free kick to come in from either Eric Da Silva Moreira or
Ramon Sosa.
Jota Silva actually runs over it. Moreira into the 6-yard box. What a ball! Headed over by a player arriving late at the back post.
What a ball that is.
Forest Red threw themselves at it, and it's over the top. Taiwo Awoniyi, the centre forward, is the man who had the chance from a free kick that was whipped, but it was mid-height, so awkward for goalkeeper and defenders, and Awoniyi just couldn't make the most of it, but some delivery.
Oh, it's a fabulous ball. I mean, it just takes the goalkeeper out of it. Nobody gambled coming around the back. It was a difficult chance because the ball's dying as well.
Looked level.
Unbelievable ball.
There is no VAR tonight, just in case you were wondering, but I think the flag would have stayed down. Joelinton on from halfway. Forest head it forwards. Kraft comes and controls. Nice touch. Forwards to Tonali. Could play Almiron in. Does play Almiron in. Good ball by Tonali into the corner on the right. Almiron's cross. Joelinton arriving. Headed away by Nottingham Forest as far as Lewis Hall, 30 yards out. Sticks it back in there. Easily cleared. Hall then makes a challenge. Newcastle have it back through Bruno in midfield. Under pressure, Bruno pulled back. Dominguez doesn't like the decision, but it was at least one of the three
really
went to tackle Bruno that's been penalised. I don't know who it's against.
As soon as he puts his arm up, the referee isn't going to give it. Puts his arm up, referee gives a free kick.
Well, there were three players who attempted to get the ball off him, and I'm not sure which one of them is adjudged to have committed the foul. Take another look, would you? Anderson comes away with it. Must be Dominguez then, who's just put his arm on.
Put his arm on this.
There'll be a minimum of 4 additional minutes, and we're into the first of those. BBC Radio Newcastle bring you every Newcastle and Sunderland match exclusively live. And they could increase their lead here before the half-time break. Kieran Trippier, good 35 yards away from the goal. Central position, rolled to Bruno, almost won back immediately by Forest, and Bruno back towards Trippier, and now into the Newcastle half, and Trippier's forward pass is charged down, and Pope very nearly caught by Ramon Sosa, out to Kraft on the touchline. Trippier back to Pope, and Awoniyi challenging the goalkeeper out on the far side. They've made an absolute mess of that.
Whoa. Wasn't pretty, was it?
Nottingham Forest with a throw, ball back in play. Colin White will be here at half-time to have a look at some of your comments on the game and also go through all the scores in tonight's other League Cup ties. Jota Silva busy in the first half for Nottingham Forest. First cross is cleared by Dan Burn. It's come back to the Portuguese. Moreira attempting to deliver. Joelinton's got it after Newcastle blocked the cross, and a forward ball. Isak on the chase. It's going to beat him though. Again, Alexander Isak. He had the chance.
He's isolated as well
in the first few seconds of the game. The shot was saved and Willock put the rebound in, John Anderson, but he's not had service or opportunities again. No, apart from that, no goal scoring chances for Isak that I can think of. Can you? Is it about service? Is it about
it's all about service. It's all about getting it into him in the right areas, and we haven't done that.
William Osula on the bench. Wonder whether we'll see Osula for his competitive debut. Scored in the friendly win and had it disallowed against Brest just before the season began. But had a good game. Bolly. Dominguez now on the near touchline. Over halfway to Moreira. Out off Hall. Hit him on the knees. Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall having a conversation side by side. Forrest throw it back to Bolly. And he works it into the centre to Omar Bamidele. Isak closing down. Omar Bamidele drops his shoulder, starts to move. Tonali putting pressure on, gets to the ball and makes another challenge. Support from Almiron. Omar Bamidele's got away with it and really did get away with it there, not once but twice. Could have lost it in a pretty dodgy position. Foul by Bruno on Dominguez. Bruno puts his hands on his head. Can't believe the decision. Free kick next to the centre circle.
Yeah, you get them all the time, so.
1-0 Newcastle. And the whistle for half-time can't be too far away. And here it is from Sam Allison. Newcastle United scored after 18 seconds. And Sandro Tonali, on his return from the 10-month suspension, had a hand in the goal, helping it on to Almiron, through for Isak, shot saved, rebound tucked away by Joe Willock, who had to go off injured. He's been sitting on the bench with an ice pack on his thigh. Bruno came on as his replacement. Tonali had a big chance, his big moment to score, but his shot from inside the area when he was played through hit the leg of the goalkeeper. Joelinton's bent one wide as Newcastle looked for a second goal. Almiron's had one saved and put behind as well. So they've had opportunities to increase their lead. Couple of nervy moments at the back from Forrest, crosses from right and left. But John Anderson, they have the advantage after 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's been enjoyable. It was a quick 45 minutes. It's been so open, so stretched. It's been end-to-end. Both sides trying to get forward when they can. Both sides making mistakes, but it's been good to watch.
And how do you think Sandro Tonali has played?
Game probably started too quick for him. Started at 100 mile an hour. It wasn't as if he could play his way into the game. After 25 minutes or so, he was starting to blow and blown heavily. But it was always going to be the case. You know, he needs to get up to the pace of Premier League games. You can train as much as you want, but there's no substitution for playing games, and that's where he is. You know, he needs to be playing games. This will do him in good stead. The way he's looking, you'd be amazed if he might not even appear for the second half, to be quite honest, but if he could get 60 minutes into him, that'll be a good start.
They've got Sean Longstaff among their substitutes tonight. Newcastle finally, for the moment, Ando, with Newcastle 1-0 up at half-time in the second round of the League Cup here at the City Ground. A blow for Joe Willock, and
you feel for the boy.
Distraught at having to go
you
off.
really do feel for the boy. You know, he's had his fair share of injuries. He gets his opportunity tonight, scores after 18 seconds or whatever it was, and then a few minutes later he's out of the game. You just hope that it's nothing too serious. It looked like a little bit of a dead leg. You're hoping that's what it is. If it is, you know, he could be okay for the weekend, but you know, fingers crossed that's not too serious, because he's had his fair share.
Second half on the way here on BBC Radio Newcastle. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 1.
Bailey at breakfast.
What's your clothing disaster? Lee in Hexham.
Imagine me in my classroom in a suit. We're lining the children up and one boy puts his hand up in the line and says, "I'm not feeling very well," and he vomits all the way down me. The only thing I had to get changed into was a pair of Father Christmas trousers. So I spent the rest of the day teaching dressed as Father Christmas.
I love that, Lee. Did you ever have to wear anything else weird?
I once split my trousers down the back and had to wear a flag for the rest of the day around my lower regions.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Thank you to Matthew Raisbeck. Newcastle United leading here at the City Ground against Nottingham Forest by 1-0 at half-time, and they scored after 18 seconds. Joe Willock, and then injured after 14 minutes, so it's been an up and down evening for him already, an up and down evening for Sandro Tonali as well, who started a chaotic game. I mean, it was absolutely chaotic. The first 20 minutes, I mean, never mind the first 20 seconds when he got a goal, but the first 20 seconds was just madness.
Yeah,
from
it was
both sides.
like jumpers and playgrounds, wasn't it? You know, it was like being in the school playground and just kids running around all over the place chasing the ball. That's what it was like, and you know, there was no shape to anything. Nottingham Forest defensively looked very open, and that's how the goal came about. They just got torn apart. The ball straight through the middle. Decent save by the keeper. Joe Willock following up. You know, you've already mentioned it's been a strange game for him. He scores and then he has to go off. You just hope that it's nothing too serious. Yeah. Tonali, it's been 100 mile an hour, you know, and you can see that he's really blown and he's feeling the pace of it. They had to come on and get him a little bit of a breather, whether he appears for the second half or not. As I just said to Razor there, Colin, if he can get 60 minutes into him, that would be huge.
I'm not absolutely convinced he will appear for the second half, but we will see in due course. He had a good chance, not long after, actually, and then Almiron had a decent chance after that, and then beyond that point, Newcastle have had some half chances. Joe Linton had an effort from a long way out. Barnes has looked dangerous. Nick Pope's not been tested though.
Well, apart from the cross that he came and he missed, and Dan Burns hooked it off the line. Apart from that, Forest have had...
There's two good chances, no saves, but you're right to point out two good chances.
Yeah, but look, it's, as I say, you'd be surprised if the goals were finished the way that opening 45 minutes has gone. You would think there's more goals in this game.
We will find out in the second half, which will begin in just under 10 minutes time. John Anderson, thank you very much for the moment. He and Matthew Raisbeck will be back for full commentary of the second half. Newcastle leading here at the City Ground by 1-0. It is one of 7 ties in the League Cup tonight. It's the last one to kick off as well. The only 8 o'clock kick-off. There was one 7:30 kick-off, which has Wolves 2-0 up on Burnley. Gonçalo Guedes with both of Wolves' goals, one in the first half, one in the second half. So they are already a good 20 minutes into the second half. AFC Wimbledon 1, Ipswich Town 1. The Premier League side going ahead after 3 minutes through Ali Al-Hamadi. The League 2 side equalising 5 minutes before half-time through Omar Bougil. That's one of the 7:45s that's roughly 10 minutes into the second half. So AFC Wimbledon 1, Ipswich 1. It's Cardiff City 2, Southampton 2. Southampton had the lead after 10 minutes through Mateus Fernandes. Ruben Colwill equalised for Cardiff after 20 minutes, and then after 30 minutes Amo Amiyao got Southampton restored their lead again. They led by 2-1 at half-time, but an Edwards own goal 3 minutes into the second half has restored parity again. So it is Cardiff City 2, Southampton 2. Another battle between a Premier League side and a League 2 side is Colchester United against Brentford, but Brentford have the lead in that one. Keane Lewis Potter scoring on the stroke of half-time. So Colchester 0, Brentford 1. Wycombe of League 1 winning 1-0 away at Championship Swansea Coney after 40 minutes in that one. There are no goals in the other all Premier League tie between West Ham United and Bournemouth, and as we know, Newcastle United 1-0 up here against Nottingham Forest at half-time. I won't run you through every single goal and goal scorer from last night because the majority of ties were played last night, but a few standout ones. Stoke City winning by 5-0 at the Riverside against Middlesbrough. It was only 1-0 at half-time, but then they scored 4 in the space of 12 minutes in the middle of the second half. So Middlesbrough 0, Stoke City 5. Barnsley beat Sheffield United by 1-0. Barrow of League 2 beat Derby County of the Championship in a penalty shootout. 3-2 it finished on penalties after a goalless draw. Blackpool scored twice in the second half to come from behind and win 2-1 at Blackburn. Brighton had 4 different goal scorers as they beat Crawley by 4-0. Brandon Thomas Asante scored as Coventry City beat Oxford United 1-0. Everton, who've had a dreadful start to the league season, have at least progressed in the cup. They beat Doncaster 3-0. Fleetwood were 2-1 winners over Rotherham United. Sheffield Wednesday won 5-1 away at Grimsby. Callum Paterson with a couple. All 5 of those goals for Sheffield Wednesday coming in the second half. They were 1-0 down at half-time, Sheffield Wednesday, and came back to win that one 5-1. Also scoring 5 away from home, Preston 5-0 away at Harwich at Town. A hat-trick for Osmajic. Sam Greenwood, formerly of Sunderland's academy, scoring the first 2 of Preston's goals. Leicester City put 4 past Tranmere, beaten 4-0. Leyton Orient won 1-0 at Millwall. That goes down as a shock. Queen's Park Rangers won 4-1 on penalties against Luton. The 2 goals in normal time came inside the first 15 minutes, and then no goals for the rest of the 90. QPR winning 4-1 on penalties. Bolton won 2-0 away at Shrewsbury. Walsall won 3-2 at home to Huddersfield. Despite being 2-0 down, Walsall came back to win that one 3-2. Huddersfield had a man sent off just before half-time, which didn't help them. Watford beat Plymouth 2-0. Fulham won 2-0 away at Birmingham City, and Crystal Palace were 4-0 winners over Norwich City. A couple of those goals coming from Jean-Philippe Mateta. Back with full second half commentary very shortly. A little bit more to come between now and then, though. It is almost, but not quite exactly, 9 o'clock.
The Make a Difference Awards with BBC Radio Newcastle.
Now, all this week, and indeed past few weeks, we have been showcasing, quite rightly, various different nominees for our Make a Difference Awards that take place at the end of next month. Now, settling into a new area, finding community can be a bit difficult, but Julia Dowd is someone who was absolutely determined to bring people together. Having moved to a new build estate, she's done countless different things for her neighbourhood, organising Couch to 5K groups. She's founded the running group Cramlington Crawlers. She's been in negotiations with developers to put in a new footpath so that the children on her estate can walk to school. Loads of other things as well, all of which have combined for her to be nominated for a Make a Difference Great Neighbour Award.
My name is Julia Dowd. I live in Cramlington and I have been nominated for the Great Neighbour Award. First of all, what I've started doing was when we moved onto the estate, we had no footpath off the estate, so we've got about 600 houses here and we're road locked. So we had no way of getting off the estate other than taking the car or walking down 3 very, very busy and fast roads. So I've worked with the council and with developers, and they have put a footpath in for us, which wasn't planned for another 2 to 3 years. And the result of that has meant that school children can walk to school, people can go out on their bikes, they can walk into town, which is something that they didn't have before. So it was a long time coming, and it took quite a lot of negotiating and meetings with the council, but we finally got there. We started a running group about 2 years ago, and it was with a group of ladies who have never run, haven't run before or haven't run for a very long time. And we started doing a Couch to 5K, and from there we've done the Great North Run, we've done Bamber 10K. So I've always been a runner. I run with my dad, so my he's run every Great North Run since it started in 1981, so he's one of a few runners left who've done every single one. So my dad's my inspiration. So we've got a Facebook group, and we've got about 99 members. Some of them maybe don't run, but hopefully we're inspiring them and motivating them to run. There's people who run on their own and they share their stories as well. So it's just a really positive group that we've got. But I think it's easier to create a community on a new build estate because we're all new. So we're all new to the area, and a lot of us are keen to make friends with our neighbours. So social media is a really great platform to get to know your neighbours. You start off with estate pages, and that's kind of where it started, and then we created the running group, and it's just grown from there. So I think with social media, it's really easy to be able to create a community on these runs. We'll have the thing of if you can't speak, then you're running too quick. So basically we just chatter for the entire run, and it's really therapeutic. We laugh, we cry, and we just have a really it's a really wholesome time with a group of fantastic ladies. as a result of the Couch to 5K and the running group, we do have other social gatherings. So whether it's been for the we did for the Queen's Jubilee, and New Year's Eve, we have fancy dress parties, and we get together quite regularly. I think it's probably grown from the running group, so that's how we all got to know each other, and then partners, and then friends of friends, and so then we've all got together. There's probably a group of about sort of 20-30 of us. And one of my fellow runners was the lady who nominated me. Yeah, she said, I think I might have done something, but it's good, and I need to tell you about it. So she did, and I was just really humbled by it, because it's not something that I've done for any type of recognition at all. So yeah, it was a lovely thing.
So that was lovely to hear. The Make a Difference Awards, as I mentioned, at the end of September. We will have another nominee for the Make a Difference Great Neighbour Award on Total Sport tomorrow night. But lovely to hear from Julia Dowd tonight as well. Newcastle United lead Nottingham Forest by 1-0. We'll be back with Razor and Ando in probably just a couple of minutes' time, maybe not even that. A couple of other things to remind you of, though, today, if you didn't hear Total Sport earlier on. Sunderland reportedly a lot closer now to a loan move for the Ghanaian international midfielder Salis Abdul Samedi. Also interested in the 18-year-old Serbian midfielder Milan Aleksic. And as you can hear, the Nottingham Forest team coming out behind us, and the Newcastle United team as well. Just time to tell you that Durham Cricket have announced the signing of a Derbyshire seamer, Sam Commerce, on a 2-year deal starting next year. You can get in touch with us at full-time. John Anderson will be here. You can text us on 81333 or send us a WhatsApp message on 08000 321 333. Start all your messages with the letters BBC. Newcastle lead at the break. Razor and Ando back in just a tick.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Away for Isak, who's in already. Alexander Isak into the penalty area. Good save. Goal! Willock with a tap in. And Newcastle United have scored inside 20 seconds at the City Ground. Tonali involved in the move, playing it to Almiron. Through for Isak. Shot saved. Put away the rebound by Joe Willock. What a start. Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 1.
Total Sport North East.
The EFL Cup.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Newcastle lead 1-0, and there are no changes at half-time. Sandro Tonali is back out and will play some part in the second half. And going back to our discussion, John Anderson, just before the break, are you a little surprised? I know you might see it as a good thing, but he's going to continue.
Yeah, he obviously feels that he's got more in his legs. We've seen the bit where he was blown. If he can get another 15 minutes in, if he can get 60 minutes in, I think Eddie Howe will be absolutely delighted with that. I would say he'll feel it tomorrow, that's for sure.
Second half is underway on BBC Radio Newcastle and NUFC TV. Isak, nice touch around the corner, but away by Forest in Newcastle clearance. They are shooting towards the away fans, so towards the goal to the right-hand side. And back to the keeper from Forest. Isak closing down, away it goes. We'll run through the two lineups now, because Dan Burns just booted the ball out of play. Newcastle: Pope, Trippier, Kraft, Byrne, Hall, Tonali, Bruno, Joelinton, Almiron and Barnes either side of Isak. Bruno on for Willock because of injury during the first half. And Forest: Carlos Miguel in goal, Willy Bolly, Andrew Omobamidele and Zach Abbott, the three centre-halves. Eric Da Silva Moreira and Alex Moreno are the wing-backs. Nicolas Dominguez, Elliot Anderson in midfield, Ramon Sosa, Taiwo, Jota Silva, the wide players, Taiwo Awonyi up front. Newcastle leading 1-0, Kraft on the ball. Black and white stripes against the red shirts of Forest. Tonali up the line but out of play. Just away from Almiron, who's now limping. He got a little kick there, or maybe just rolled his ankle slightly as he attempts to keep the ball in. Tonali's been tying his bootlace but is now back up. The ball yet to be thrown back into play. Now it is by Alex Moreno, the Aston Villa loanee. Emil Kraft's got to be quick, had a player at his back, he's hooked it clear. And bounces between Trippier and Tonali, and it's a Forest throw on the near side. The Newcastle bench: Ruddy, Gordon, Target, Osula, Livramento, Murphy, Kelly and Longstaff. Throw from Moreno, 25 yards out on the angle to Awonyi. He's a big player and he's taken it on his chest, held off Tonali. You've got to be strong and physical to get the ball off him. Here's Anderson taking a bit of a risk. Almiron and Isak with a couple of challenges. Isak's hit the floor. Anderson has gone to apologise and help him up. Isak stayed down. Whistle's gone. Referee didn't award a free kick but has now stopped the game.
Yeah, it was just a coming together. They both kicked out of the ball, didn't they? I don't think it was a free kick.
Physios come on.
Almiron's hobbling about as well.
He's just given the thumbs up to one of his teammates, Almiron. Murphy, Osula, Longstaff warming up for Newcastle United. Where did Isak get hurt in that coming together?
Not too sure. I mean, Anderson just kicks the ball away. Don't know whether he twisted an ankle. It looks like it's his left ankle.
He can't take any chances. Elliot Anderson been over to apologise a couple of times. He's now having a chat with Kieran Trippier. Isak's back up. Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall watch on from the side of the pitch as Isak makes his way across, and the manager's going to have a word with him. He's walking gingerly, but I think he's going to come back on. Eddie Howe's got his arm around Isak, gives him a pat on the back. He's got to wait. Fourth official's making sure he doesn't return to the pitch before he's allowed to. Ball's gone out near to the corner on the left, and it got a touch off Kieran Trippier on the way. It's a Forest throw. Forward goes Bolly. He's a big lad, he's almost as big as Dan Burn. And Dan Burn's gone to mark him as the throw comes in. Burn gets his head to the ball. They're shot in off the bar. Equaliser scored by Nottingham Forest. Jota Silva. Newcastle won the first ball from the throw, but not the second. The header from Burn dropped on the right foot of Jota Silva, and he has lashed it into the net off the underside of the bar. 50 minutes played. Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 1.
Well, didn't deal with the long throw in, did we? Dan Burn got something on it, fell nicely. It's a good volley. Like I say, he's hit it well. Nick Pope's got no chance. I mean, he's rooting to the spot. He's never getting to it. 1-1.
Jota Silva punches the air in front of the Trent end, and the Nottingham Forest supporters with both fists clenched. Zando says Nick Pope didn't move. Over the box it came. Might have been Joe Linton.
It was Joe Linton who got the header on it. Yeah, I thought it was Dan Burn, but it was Joe Linton.
He was right in front of him. Don't know if it touched Burn on the way across the box, but whoever took it away in the middle in black and white, it only managed to end up landing perfectly for Jota Silva. One of Forest's summer signings has got the equaliser. Very definitely game on in the League Cup. Newcastle and Nottingham Forest level at 1 apiece early in the second half here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Trippier to Joe Linton, facing his own goal. Back to Burn, out towards Hall. Hall didn't have a lot of pace on it, but Hall's got there, and up to Barnes, taking on Herrera as well. Barnes comes inside. Joe Linton drags it back, goes on the outside, and then looked for the run of Barnes through the middle, but it's intercepted. And Bolly to Anderson as Tonali puts the pressure on. Bolly 10 yards in front of the penalty box, onto the right wing. Newcastle win it back through Hall. Bruno touched off to Joe Linton, flicks it away from goal scorer Jota Silva. Hall up the left wing for Barnes. Isak in the box. Tonali on the edge of the area. Still Barnes. Right-footed cross headed away, and then Bruno with a foul, and he might get a booking here.
Yeah.
Yellow carded for the challenge on Jota Silva that stopped the Nottingham Forest counter-attack in the middle of the Forest half.
Just rolled him, didn't he? Just turned away from him. He was getting away from him, he wasn't catching him, and he wasn't taking any chances, Guimaraes, so he just took him down.
Referee getting quite a few complaints from Nottingham Forest players. Jota Silva and Willy Bolly. Surely they didn't want red card for Bruno.
No.
Surely not. It's a booking, no more, and it has been given to the Newcastle captain. The ball goes forwards from the free kick. It's in the hands of Nick Pope. Emil Kraft took a tumble, but he's now back up. Hall for Barnes, bang on halfway. Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall out there in the technical area. They have options on the bench. Here's Almiron, who seems to have shaken off that knock. Ball in behind, Tonali tugged down. Tonali pulled down by Zach Abbott, and he'll get a yellow card. He was threatening to get away, the Italian. Great ball in behind. Just got a yard or so on the young defender, and easy decision for referee Sam Allison to give the free kick and produce the yellow card 35 yards out on the right.
Yeah, just similar to the one he gave the yellow card for earlier to Guimaraes. Similar type of tackle. It's been consistent, the referee's been very good tonight actually. He's tried to let the game flow, he's letting people take quick free kicks. He's had a good game, the referee.
He was a former apprentice footballer professionally, and then played non-league, Sam Allison, so can't say he doesn't know the game, doesn't understand. He's given Newcastle this free kick, which is sent in by Trippier. Keeper came and then backpedaled, but there was too much behind it, and it's a goal kick.
Too much on it, wasn't it? Not enough bend, not enough whip. A little bit too straight.
Short goal kick played by Bolly to Carlos Miguel up to halfway. Dan Burn header on. Tonali tries to win it from Omar Bamidele. Trippier with a challenge, and it's Nottingham Forest throw rather than free kick that the supporters were screaming for. No players appealed, but fans
never a free kick.
Were expecting something more than just a throw.
As I say, every time somebody goes down, everybody wants a free kick.
Longstaff, Gordon sent out to warm up. Target Murphy, Livramento there as well. Here's Ramon Sosa. Trippier with a tackle. Jota Silva now brings it away into the centre. He looks a useful player. They've signed a good one there, Nottingham Forest. Jota Silva from Vitória Guimarães in Portugal. Joe Linton sticking to the task of defending on the far side in typically physical style, but then he's given the ball away on the edge of the area and then won it back, but it's come to Elliot Anderson on the outside, tries to dink it over Nick Pope, and it's just past the post from Elliot Anderson.
What's Joe Linton doing? Just why? He wins the ball, he does great, then he gives it away inside his own penalty area, and it's not the first time tonight.
Being wasteful in possession. And Anderson, well, that was cheeky. Pope was worried for a moment or two. It's gone away across the goal and wide. Nottingham Forest having levelled it up about 5 minutes ago. Just there with another opportunity to score. 1-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle. Hall forwards, blocked by Bolly. And it's the home team very much enjoying the better of it in the opening part of the second half. Tonali and Barnes closing down Anderson, who's used the ball well on the right side. Still in their own half, Forest. Abbott given away to Joelinton, flicked inside to Barnes. Newcastle trying to get forwards here. Joelinton makes a challenge in midfield as Barnes' ball ran loose. Forest clear. Big Dan Burn across to the right side to regain possession. Decent ball into the centre to Joelinton, pulled down by Jota Silva. Free kick.
It's got really sloppy, hasn't it? Both sides giving it away. Neither side really able to keep it. Pace of the game's died as well. Nowhere near as quick as it was in the opening period.
Changes are coming for Nottingham Forest. Maybe not just yet for Newcastle. One apiece. Bruno behind the ball, just in front, slightly to the right of the centre circle. He's tried to dig it out and get it in behind to Trippier. Header from a Forest player. Trippier wants to let it run for a corner, and it has run for a corner. Lewis Hall to take it on this near side. If he sticks it in, it'll be an in-swinger. Almiron's also available short, near to the corner of the penalty area. Every Forest player back to defend in the 59th minute. Hall's delivery. Goalkeeper always, especially with his height.
Yeah, he's 8'7".
Yeah.
Just stuck his arms up and just grabbed it out of the sky.
He's going to get that. Isak not giving him much room to kick it up the pitch. Carlos Miguel left-footed and thumps it forwards. Awonyi, big centre forward with strong play, holding off Kraft to bring it down. Did well, it was a good touch. He's kept his team in possession. Going to bring on a defender and a central midfielder, Forest. In just a moment. Elliot Anderson goes back to Zach Abbott. Anthony Gordon looks like he's going to come on. Livramento taking off his bib, and maybe Sean Longstaff as well. Awonyi trying to get away from Byrne. Dan Byrne gets across and under pressure sticks it out for a throw. On the near side, the Forest left. And here come the changes. Zach Abbott replaced, having just been yellow carded, and on comes Nikola Milenkovic, the 6'5" Serbia international who played at the Euros. And Jota Silva, the goal scorer, maybe a surprise, not at all upset to see him go off. He is replaced by the midfielder Ibrahim Sangare, who had started both their Premier League matches, more of a sitter in midfield. I think Elliot Anderson's going to push up for Nottingham Forest, and Milenkovic is a straight swap for Abbott.
Yeah, well, we'll see more after this throw in, see where Sangare goes. At this moment in time, he's on the edge of the penalty area, stood with stood with Harvey Barnes.
1-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle.
Here's the Newcastle changes.
Anthony Gordon for Miguel Almiron. Being linked today to Fulham. Almiron. Speculation over his long-term future continues. Replaced by Gordon. Livramento for Trippier. Another straight swap. Trippier goes off next to the goalposts and will walk around the pitch. And Longstaff and
it'll be Tonali, won't it?
It is Tonali. Well, he's given them 61 minutes, Sandro Tonali. Sum up his contribution, John Anderson.
Yeah, you can see the quality he's got. One or two things that he did in the first half was excellent. Had the big chance. Don't blame him for that. But you can see the quality that he's got. He sees things early. He's just ahead of other people on the pitch. The passes that he sees, that'll do him good. That 60 minutes, done well.
He waves to the Newcastle fans on his way off the pitch, and then gets a high five from Eddie Howe, Graham Jones and Jason Tyndall. Takes his place on the bench. So double change for Forest, triple change for Newcastle. 1-1. Here's
That's a foul throw.
Alex Moreno.
That's a foul throw.
Was his feet off the floor?
He jumped up in the air.
He's taken a short one here quickly. Gets it back. Still going from the goal line. Dangerous play by Alex Moreno. Not the best cross. Didn't really give any of his colleagues a chance. And Lewis Hall has been able to shield it and let it run for a Newcastle throw on the far side. Taken quickly to Bruno. And he switches it. Livramento brings it down. His first touch since coming on. Chops back, comes inside to Longstaff and now Kraft to Pope, away by Pope to Hall.
Well played.
And Lewis Hall on the chest, rather bounced up and hit him. He's got control. Now he's got support from Harvey Barnes on halfway. Barnes shifts it and comes inside, which he likes to do. Looks for Longstaff. It's rebounded for Isak. Oh, couldn't release the pass and find Gordon. It's been caught late as well. Isak is limping, and a Forest player hurt in that challenge as well, but we play on because here's Livramento. This could be interesting. Gordon, high cross from the right from Gordon, too much on it, and it's a throw on the far side.
Yeah, he just got too much on it, didn't he? Too much height as well.
We are with you on BBC Radio Newcastle tonight till 10:30. If you want to send us a WhatsApp message about the game, there's nothing happening at the moment. Forest preparing to take a throw. Put BBC at the start and our WhatsApp number. Save it in your phone to make it quicker next time. 08000 321 333.
I tell you what, I've just seen something. There's a lady sat and she's doing her knitting. She's knitting a pair of socks by the looks of it. She's obviously enjoying the game as well, but she's doing her brought her knitting with her as well.
Keeping her hands busy while she watches the match. I mean, it hasn't been that bad tonight, has it? It's been
good.
Plenty going on.
It's been a good game, been an enjoyable game.
Remember, if it's level at the end of the 90, which it currently is level in the 65th minute, it's penalties. Bruno slipped in midfield. Kraft tried to play it to him. Forest have it back. Awonyi. Dominguez making the run in the area. Dominguez. Nick Pope could have dropped his cap on that, as they say. Straight at him. No power in the shot.
No. The angle was tight as well.
Isak flicking it around. Big Milenkovic. Big volley covering, plays it inside to Omar Bamidele. Ramon Sosa up the line to Alex Moreno, loves to attack. The full-back wing back. Do you remember the game he played for Aston Villa, the 3-0 in the season
he was brilliant
before last? Newcastle
he was brilliant.
Battered that day, but he was sensational.
He was unbelievable.
He scored an own goal at Villa last season when Newcastle won 3-1 in January. Out of favour, so on loan at Forest this season. One apiece. He takes the throw, gets it back from Omar Bamidele, and he's got loads of space. Picks out the cross. Great ball, but no one in red getting a touch, and crucially no one in black and white getting a touch, because anything might have seen the ball end up in the net.
Moreira needs to get himself in. He stays out. That's a great ball.
Bruno switches it from the Newcastle throw on the left. Livramento. Half-hearted appeals from home fans for handball. Gordon, great flick onto Longstaff, carrying the ball up to halfway, looking for Isak, stretching, couldn't hold it. He wasn't necessarily favourite there, Isak.
That's never a free kick.
Lewis Hall.
No,
yellow
never.
carded for a challenge next to halfway. Talk us through that.
It's just a coming together by the looks of it. His touch is heavy, it gets away from him, and they just come together.
Eric De Silva, Moreira in the challenge with Lewis Hall. It's seen the Newcastle left back yellow carded. Heavy touch
gets away from him.
Hall was there.
I mean, there's nothing in that.
And the referee that you praised tonight for the way that he's let the game flow, let it go.
Yeah.
Being quite liberal.
He obviously got told at half time. You haven't shown any cards, you need to get them out.
Is this the quota that you believe
You've been
in?
too liberal letting things go.
You believe in the quota?
Oh, big style. Conspiracy. Seen one the other day, he hadn't shown a card for 78 minutes, he showed 4 in the last 10.
Well, it might get boring for them if they don't have any decisions to make, anything meaningful, anything to write down. I mean, what they're going to put in their report afterwards if they haven't shown any yellow cards.
It was a good game.
Yeah. Nottingham Forest substitutions. Nico Williams is coming on, and so is Callum Hudson-Odoi. Eric De Silva Moreira, that challenge from Lewis Hall. His last involvement in the match. Off he comes, replaced by Nico Williams, the Welsh international formerly of Liverpool. That's a straight swap, and Callum Hudson-Odoi is coming on for Ramon Sosa. Hudson-Odoi, once of Chelsea, dangerous player, scored in the Premier League match here last season. And Tino Livramento will certainly have to watch this lad, because when he drifts in, cuts inside, gets it on his right foot, there can be trouble. Forest have taken the free kick. Back they go to Carlos Miguel in goal. Dan Burn with the header. Bruno on. Sangare gets the better of Joelinton. Nico Williams straight into the action, up to the edge of the penalty area, trying to take on Hall. Oh, the ball's come into the middle. Unfortunately, Newcastle at the second attempt managed to stab it away, and now they've cleared it into midfield, and this is Joelinton. Challenge on Joelinton is a fair one in the centre circle from Dominguez, and Milenkovic back to the goalkeeper. But Williams with a cross that was behind the Newcastle defenders, and there were 2 Forest bodies in there.
Yeah.
Ando.
Thankfully it was behind him.
I can tell you about a couple of other goals, because there is a break in play. Nicolas Dominguez, the Argentinian, is down. Wolves have beaten Burnley 2-0. It's currently 2-2 between Wimbledon and Ipswich. Ipswich with a late equaliser. Southampton at Cardiff is 3-3. All happening there. Here in Newcastle, Isak winning it back next to the centre circle. Gordon looked for the ball in behind to Barnes. It's intercepted, and now in the middle part of the pitch, Elliot Anderson, near left-hand side, turns away from Gordon, plays it back to Moreno, and it looks as though Barnes has come to the right wing and Gordon's out on the left, where we are more used to seeing him. Just a switch of wingers from Eddie Howe. 70 minutes, it's 1-1. Anderson, right-footed, sweeps it out to Hudson-Odoi. Here he goes, taking on Livramento for the first time. In the final third, Forest. Anderson now to Dominguez, threads it through, but Awoniyi didn't make the run.
On his heels, wasn't he? Got caught in his heels. Just didn't see the run.
So the team's level here with 20 minutes to play. Brentford 1-0 up at Colchester. It's Swansea 0, Wycombe 1. West Ham lead Bournemouth 1-0. Jared Bowen in the 88th minute. It's to BBC Radio Newcastle. Total Sport back tomorrow at 6, our nightly football phone-in, Monday to Friday on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds, where you can listen from anywhere in the world at any time. You can catch up with any show. Total Sport Northeast on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Here's Livramento on for Barnes. Longstaff with him. Barnes comes inside off the right wing. Good skill by Barnes, being held back. Referee thought about letting it run. He's given the free kick, and Joelinton wanted to take it quickly.
Moreno's been yellow carded, rightly so.
Shown by Sam Allison for the pull back on.
He's good on the ball,
Harvey Barnes.
Moreno, but he's not the greatest defender, is he?
So the free kick in the middle of midfield taken by Newcastle. And Bruno now out to Barnes in the wide position. 2 to beat. Livramento there for support. Still Barnes twisting and turning. Now gets away. Dinks the cross to the back post. Gordon coming in, flicked away by the defender. Williams, who had to take action. Byrne fouled by Awonyi. Near to halfway, Newcastle have got the match restarted with a quick free kick. Longstaff for Hall. Might hit this. Lewis Hall instead plays it to Gordon. Taking on Williams. Back to Hall, edge of the area. Scuffed it. And Forest clear. The boos that we were hearing were because Awonyi wasn't back up on his feet, but he's now participating in the game again. Dan Byrne helped him up, actually.
Don't think for much longer though.
Newcastle looking to retake the lead. It's 1-1. Joelinton, Longstaff, Isak back through. Harvey Barnes coming onto it.
Oh, what a block!
Corner.
What a block that is.
Great move.
This time Moreno just throws his body in the way of it.
It involved Isak and Longstaff from the ball played forwards, and then it came to Barnes, who did the right thing. He had to hit it first time on his right from inside the penalty area at the angle, and Alex Moreno blocked it. Lewis Hall's corner to the near post. It's a sneaky one. I don't know if he's trying to whip it in and bend it into the goal, but the keeper had moved away from that part of his net, and it's headed out by Bolly for a throw for Newcastle, 30 yards from the Forest goal. Kraft on halfway. Inside to Byrne, forwards to Joelinton, having a bit of a better spell here and creating some opportunities. Can they have another moment here with Gordon, 30 yards out. Livramento closed down to Longstaff, first time to Barnes, could send it on to Livramento. He's been tackled. Barnes didn't release the ball, and Callum Hudson-Odoi away. Barnes giving everything to try and get back and make amends, but Hudson-Odoi's held on to it, plays it back to Alex Moreno inside his own half.
Yeah.
And Forest keep possession.
Hudson-Odoi didn't have anybody with him, did he? They didn't get up quick enough. Pace of the game's drastically slowed down.
Nicolas Dominguez and Ibrahim Sangare exchanging passes in midfield. Omar Bamidele now, left side of defence, lots of space. Bruno gets close and they turn and give it back to the goalkeeper. We are going to see Chris Wood, once of Newcastle and on Boxing Day, player who scored a hat-trick on his return to St James's Park. He's going to come on any moment. Here's Gordon, 30 yards out, couldn't hold the ball but has won it back after losing it. Kraft to Bruno. And Gordon just to the right in the middle of midfield. Longstaff in an advanced position, takes a touch and on the turn passes it to Barnes wide on this near side. And back to Bruno, almost stood on the ball. Anderson on top of him. Back to Pope, who leaves his box, and it's Byrne, 1-1 inside to Kraft. Up to halfway and Livramento from Kraft's ball, back to the Swede. Now Bruno, nice turn, finds some space. Isak wants it, gets it, carries it out to the left side and plays it to Hall. Gordon inside to Bruno, good passing from Newcastle. Can they make it count though? In the 76th minute, they've lost it on the edge of the area. Oh, and Sangare away from a sliding Bruno. Longstaff's got there before Anderson, and back to Livramento. On for Joelinton. Newcastle looking like they've got more energy than Forest at the moment. Joelinton's ball for Longstaff, on to Barnes, no offside, back through for Longstaff in the penalty area. Can't play the cross in. He's played it back to Barnes, into Livramento, gets tackled. Longstaff wins it back for Barnes. In line with the edge of the area, now inside to Bruno. Joelinton to Bruno and Hall. Wide left to Gordon. Isak in the middle. Longstaff edge of the area. They've still got it, Newcastle. It's Bruno, turns and goes back to the wide left position. Hall to Joelinton, holds up his man, still has it. Home fans lifting the volume to try and help their team as Gordon gives it to Joelinton. And the challenge is a fair one from Dominguez, but Livramento intercepts and Barnes is fouled. And it's a free kick for Newcastle United on the right wing. Plenty of possession there, John Anderson, but just no key final ball.
Anderson looks like he's blown, big style. He keeps looking to the bench as if he wants to come off.
Yellow card has been shown.
Yeah, for not letting the free kick being taken.
Nicolas Dominguez of Nottingham Forest, the midfielder, who I think committed the initial foul. So he's gone into the book. Chris Wood has been told to sit down. It's taking so long. The ball hadn't gone out. One apiece. Longstaff. Hall. Will he take the shot on this time? No. Gordon. Near to the corner of the area on the far side. Taking on Williams. Back inside to Hall. Still Lewis Hall. Wide. It's on his right foot. And it's well wide in the end. And he probably ought to have done a bit better. And I think he knows it, judging by his reaction.
Yeah, it's on his right foot. It's a swinger, isn't it? Forest look like they're blown very heavily. They've made the substitutions.
Well, Anthony Elanga is getting ready to come on instead. A player Newcastle were very strongly linked to.
Yeah, I said Anderson was blown, didn't I?
Around the time that Elliot Anderson came to the City ground, and Odysseus is not in the Newcastle squad tonight. The goalkeeper went the other way, and Newcastle want a right-sided forward player or a player for that position. And it's Anthony Elanga who comes on for Elliot Anderson. What do you think Anderson will have made of it all tonight?
I think he enjoyed it first half. I think he's played well. I think he showed the quality that he's got. He's good on the ball, uses it well. They've taken to him down here as well. They like him.
1-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle. It's penalties if it's level at the end of the 90. No extra time at this stage of the League Cup. Will Newcastle be able to get a winner here in the East Midlands and take their place in the draw, which will be made after the match? Hudson-Odoi. Or will it be the team in possession now? Nottingham Forest. Sangare, the tall midfielder, is on it again. Left of centre, 30 yards out. Alex Moreno shifts it up the line to Hudson-Odoi. Barnes back there defending. Hudson-Odoi away from Barnes, and from the goal line sends the cross in, but it was not the most powerful, and Pope makes an easy catch, and a big throw by Pope looking for Gordon. It's gone backwards off volley. Newcastle have a throw 30 yards out. Quick distribution from the goalkeeper, and the throw taken by Gordon. What's happened there? He's got to do it again. Must have been from the wrong place. They've taken a legitimate throw now. Back to Kraft and Livramento. Nothing on forwards for Livramento. Murphy, target, Osula. Warming up on the touchline. I say warming up. Murphy and Target are standing still watching. Osula is stretching. Eddie Howe talking to Jason Tindall as Joelinton passes it to Isak, who spins in a deep midfield position. Joelinton trying to get away from Sangare. He's all over him. He's found Hall, and Bruno takes it back under pressure. Misses out Byrne and gives it to Nick Pope. Byrne for Hall. Lots of space now for the Newcastle left back.
Yeah, the space opening up, isn't it? Tired legs out there.
Mrs. Longstaff made his senior debut here in the Cup 6 years ago. Pinging it into the corner for Livramento, but too much on it.
It's not the worst ball because it pins them back in there. They've got to play all the way out.
It's 1-1 here. There's a penalty shootout about to start between Wimbledon and Ipswich. Premier League team taken to penalties by a team from League 2. Listen to BBC Radio Newcastle.
It's died a bit of a death, the game, hasn't it? The energy levels have dropped. The pace of the game's dropped.
We're with you till 10:30. If you want to send us a message, 08000 321 333, or whatever the outcome, whether it's about the match or transfers, that's the WhatsApp number. Put BBC at the start. Bruno looking for Gordon, trying to get in behind. Bolly with a boot to the ball. Forrest back to the goalkeeper. Big kick again from the big Brazilian. Kraft with a header to Joe Linton, and from halfway it's come to Pope, on to Lewis Hall, who will turn 20 in a couple of weeks. Dan Byrne here, back to Hall, 5-10 yards behind halfway. Over it comes to Emil Kraft. Gordon hugging the left touchline, Barnes tight to the near touchline. 1-1, Bruno, lovely, gets a bit of space away from his man, on to Barnes. Moreno with him, Harvey Barnes trying to get clear into the penalty area, and it's put behind by a covering defender. He got the better of Alex Moreno, which is not the easiest thing to do. He's quick, Moreno, but Omar Bamidele was there to help out his teammate. Newcastle have this corner, Anthony Gordon to deliver it. It's his third minute in front of the away supporters. Bruno in the 6-yard box, Isak, Joe Linton next to the penalty spot. They've got 3 on the edge of the area. Gordon puts 2 arms in the air. Here comes the ball, looking for Dan Byrne, and it's headed wide.
They left him all on his own back post. Ball gets played there, gets a ball, bang. Got to go back across goal.
It was the near side, the keeper's right, but it ended up outside the post, and it's still
he's all on his own.
Goal kick straight onto the chest of Joe Linton in front of halfway, up to Gordon, back to Joe Linton. Not long left, otherwise if there's no winner, it's penalties. Isak unable to hold it, but it's come towards Bruno, and Gordon takes over. Gordon into the box, beats his man, brings it back to Longstaff, looking for Barnes, who collects onto Livramento. Livramento beats his man. Livramento pulls it back, and Harvey Barnes hits it into the side netting. Big chance for Barnes from inside the area, outside of the right foot, near side.
Hit across it, didn't he? Just hit across the ball. It's always going to move right.
Well, that's 2 opportunities Newcastle have created.
Livramento does great little pullback.
One of these 2 Premier League teams will be going out. This is the 9th League Cup tie in a row that Newcastle have played in that's been against another Premier League side. The teams that are playing in Europe enter in the next round. Newcastle want to join them in the hat or in the bag. 5 minutes plus additional time to win it or lose it. Or we go to a shootout live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Joe Willock after 18 seconds. Jota Silva with the Forest equaliser early in the second half. Hudson-Odoi, right-footed cross, dangerous ball headed behind by Lewis Hall, who had a player coming in on his shoulder, so he had to get something on Hudson-Odoi's really good ball in.
Yeah, he wasn't taking any chances, Hall. He knew there was somebody behind him.
Anthony Elanga is going to take the corner on the far side. He also scored in this fixture last season in the Premier League. Right-footed corner kick swings away from the goal. Joe Linton got up and flicked it out of the box. Hudson-Odoi clipped back in. Pope backpedaling, picks it up.
Poor ball.
John Anderson, do you see them winning it?
Yeah, they've got enough time. It was 5 minutes plus added on time. I think Forest look a little bit leggy. Energy levels aren't what they were.
Joelinton finds Barnes back inside to the Brazilian. His options are inside. It's Bruno, Hall and Gordon to the left. In behind Williams for Anthony Gordon. Keeps it in, turns back to Hall. Bruno, left corner of the area, shifts it, sticks it in. Headed out by Milenkovic for Forest. Joelinton retrieves. Hall for Bruno. Beats his man in midfield, and it's Longstaff. Livramento square, that's where it goes. Still Tino Livramento. It's been clipped by Sangare, and out comes the yellow card for the Forest midfielder. Anyhow, pacing the technical area, hands on hips, had a look at the floor. Jason Tyndall with the communication from pitch side as the free kick goes up the line quickly to Barnes. Whips over the cross. Carlos Miguel diving, punches it
well.
clear. It's with Hall 40 yards out and back to Kraft in the centre circle. 2 minutes of normal time remaining on BBC Radio Newcastle. Bruno's got 3 on him, back to Livramento, and now Kraft. And all the way to Pope. He leaves his penalty area. 1-1. Dan Burn. Gordon on halfway, first time inside to Joelinton. Livramento takes it forwards, 25 yards out on the right. Barnes inside to Joelinton. Bruno gives him an option in the centre. It's wide to Livramento. He's closed down by Hudson-Odoi. We've got 3 players in the box, Newcastle, but there are plenty of red shirts back as well, and Newcastle have to go back with it. Joelinton over to Burn, centre circle, takes a touch onto Hall. Gordon ahead of him. Isak outside the area. Joelinton in central midfield, gets it from Hall, gives it back to the left back. And now Gordon in the wide position, comes inside, still Anthony Gordon. Can't get the shot off, but he's rolled it across to Barnes on the near side. Threatening to take on his man, back to Livramento. The cross in, half headed away. Lewis Hall, saved by Carlos Miguel as it was heading across goal and maybe inside the far post. It's going to be a Newcastle corner in the 90th minute.
Good save, wasn't it? He's whipped across it. Lewis Hall tried to whip it into that far corner.
Rolled back to Livramento. Longstaff, heavy touch. He's gone for what might have been a shot.
It was never on.
It's a goal kick.
Shot was never on. He's always stretching, but that's a good save.
And the big goalkeeper who parried Alexander Isak's shot in the opening minute of the match into the path of Joe Willock. And Joe Willock couldn't miss for 1-0 Newcastle, has made a few saves, and he's so big that when and if this goes to penalties, Ando, you're coming up against him.
Yeah,
he's going to be filling a lot of the net.
Yeah, 5 added minutes as well.
We are into the first of those 5 additional minutes now, headed forward by Newcastle. Hit Gordon on the back and he's been able to keep possession. Isak lays it off and is then sent tumbling. He's back up as Barnes comes in off the right wing but gets dispossessed. The ball runs loose and Barnes has it back and inside to Burn. At the minute, Newcastle are the team with the ball and doing the attacking. They try to get a winner. Isak lay off to Joelinton. Joelinton edge of the area, takes it away from a couple of players, turns back inside, left-footed shot from Joelinton. Well, under pressure, he managed to find space for the effort, but the left-footed curling shot straight into the midriff of the keeper, centre of the goal.
Easy take for the keeper. I think Marino got one in the midriff as well with his follow through.
We've played a minute after 5. It's 1-1. BBC Radio Newcastle. We could be going to penalties. If we do, we'll bring them to you. And Carlos Miguel restarts the match after a check on a couple of Forest players for injuries potentially. With a big kick up the pitch, Livramento wins it. Joelinton adjudged to have fouled his man. Dominguez.
It is as well. It's a foul. Just cleans him. Just leans into him, doesn't he? puts his foot across him.
Didn't put his arm around his neck like
No,
he did with Neto.
not this time.
Bournemouth. Neck, top of the chest, shoulder, for which he received a yellow card on Sunday. Have to defend this. It's probably a touch past 30 yards from the goal. It's on the left. They are standing near to the D, Newcastle players. Forest have sent a couple round the back. Awonyi and it's Milenkovic. Alex Moreno flat into the middle. Isak volleys it away. Back out to the near side and it comes for a throw. 93rd minute, 1-1.
Tried to just stick it into an area, didn't he?
Penalty shootout is better than elimination. Two teams unbeaten in the Premier League, 4 points from their opening matches, both against Southampton and Bournemouth. 93 minutes, can't be separated. Alex Moreno into the penalty area, headed out by Newcastle. It's in the middle of the United half, now back to the halfway line. Milenkovic inside, Dominguez delayed the pass. Gordon chases the ball back to the goalkeeper, gives it a proper whack up the pitch. It's bouncing. Dan Burn heads it back to Nico Williams. The ball was starting to slow down. Gave it a good go. I think Burn was always in control of that. Longstaff trying to clip it in behind for Isak, but onto the head of Milenkovic. Barnes might be there though. Barnes with a header, a couple of Forest challenges. Joelinton drives forwards. Anthony Gordon, edge of the area. Anthony Gordon, low shot, saved. Near post, low down by Carlos Miguel.
Yeah, comfortable. Finished strongly.
We have a minute to play. And then if there's no goal, it's going to be decided from 12 yards. Longstaff behind Kraft. Awonyi chasing. Kraft's got time to turn. He's played the ball first time to Pope.
They're not putting any press on Forest, are they?
One last opportunity for Newcastle to nick it in Nottingham. Gordon away from Dominguez, up to Bruno, back to Hall. We're into the final minute on BBC Radio Newcastle. Kraft, it's 1-1. Livramento just ahead of the halfway line. They need to get it forwards and quickly. 20 seconds or so, plus whatever else the referee wants to add on. Isak's found space and a ball almost through for Gordon. It's deflected wide to Hall. Sticks the cross in, but it's blocked. Comes back to Hall. Referee. We look to Sam Allison for the whistle. It's Longstaff, edge of the area. Can't find Barnes. Still has it. Longstaff beats his man. Now finds Harvey Barnes. Cross is blocked. There's the full-time whistle. Penalties will decide this League Cup second round tie here on BBC Radio Newcastle. 95 minutes. It's finished 1-1. They scored after 18 seconds through Joe Willock, who then went off injured. Forest's equaliser came from Jota Silva in the 50th minute. Newcastle with a couple of opportunities couldn't find a goal to settle it. So now we go to penalties, John Anderson, to see whether Newcastle United or Nottingham Forest go into the next round of the League Cup.
Yeah, I mean the second half wasn't as good as the first half, wasn't as lively. A lot of huffing, puffing. Not a great deal of quality in that second half. I suppose on the plus side you say we finished stronger. A couple of shots, comfortable saves for the keeper. Disappointing with the equaliser. You know, we didn't handle the long throw in. But now it's the lottery, isn't it?
BBC Radio Newcastle. It's
buy a ticket.
1-1 at the City Ground, and now we will have penalties. Well, we will in a moment because we're going to check on all the other scores in the League Cup tonight. Here's Colin White.
Thank you very much.
The Paralympics in Paris.
Paris, the city of love.
Love is my mum and dad getting up at 4 to take me to swimming.
Love is my brother spending hours timing my laps.
Love is the endless encouragement from friends and family. Love is what gets you from grassroots to glory.
The Paralympics 2024. We'll be supporting our local athletes all the way. But what does it take to get them to the podium?
Paris, grassroots to glory. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Yeah, you can do that later. Don't do anything just now. Don't go anywhere. There is a penalty shootout coming here at the City Ground between Nottingham Forest and Newcastle United, because it's finished 1 apiece after 90 minutes. No extra time, no replays in this competition. Straight to a penalty shootout. We've already had 1 penalty shootout elsewhere in the country tonight. AFC Wimbledon of League 2 have knocked out the Premier League side in Ipswich Town. They beat them 4-2 on penalties after a 2-2 draw after 90 minutes. Ipswich's equaliser to make it 2-2 and to take it to penalties came from Connor Chaplin with 5 minutes to go. Much more comfortable for Wolves, though. They beat Burnley by a couple of goals to nil. Gonzalo Guedes with both of Wolves' goals, one just before half-time, one just after half-time. Southampton have won 5-3 away at Cardiff City in the end. They were 1-0 up, then it was 1 apiece, then they were 2-1 up, then it was 2 apiece, then they were 3-2 up, then it was 3 apiece, but eventually they scored twice in injury time. Cameron Archer with his second to make absolutely sure. So Southampton go through by beating Cardiff City by 5-3. Brentford avoided a shock. They beat League 2 Colchester by 1-0. Keane Lewis Potter on the stroke of half-time. Wycombe Wanderers won 1-0 away at Swansea. League 1 beat Championship Coney 5 minutes before half-time. Jared Bowen scored 2 minutes from the end as West Ham beat Bournemouth by 1-0 in the other All-Premier League tie tonight. So West Ham, Wycombe, Brentford, Southampton, AFC Wimbledon and Wolves are the side that are through and will be in the draw for the third round that will take place after this penalty shootout has finished. Will Newcastle United or Nottingham Forest be in that third round draw? We will find out very shortly. Back to John Anderson and Matthew Raisbeck.
Thanks, Colin. Newcastle and Nottingham Forest players make their way to the centre circle at the City Ground. The penalties are going to be taken in front of the Nottingham Forest supporters to the left, the Trent end, so not at the away end where Newcastle would have preferred them to be, I'm sure, but they've just got to do the business. Nick Pope on his way towards the goal. They have got plenty of penalty takers there, Ando. Isak, Gordon, Bruno, Joe Linton scored penalties for Newcastle before, so no shortage of players that Eddie Howe will trust, and they need at least 5. And
it's all about who keeps their nerve, isn't it? That's what it is.
Well, goalkeepers Pope and Carlos Miguel talking to the referee Sam Allison and one of his assistants on their way towards the penalty area. This is for a place in the third round of the League Cup. Nottingham Forest will go first, and it's going to be Callum Hudson-Odoi to start the shootout. Nick Pope wearing green and yellow tonight, preparing to face a penalty. On their way to Wembley 2 seasons ago, Pope was the hero against Crystal Palace in a shootout with saves that secured their place in the next round. They look to Pope to get them off to a good start tonight. Hudson-Odoi, the Forest substitute, right-footed penalty. And it's into the net. Plenty of power behind that to the goalkeeper's left, mid-height. Forest have scored their first spot kick, and here comes Alexander Isak.
Good penalty, wasn't it? Goalkeeper's not stopping that. Right in the corner, plenty of pace on it as well. Nick Pope, he went the right way, but he wasn't getting it. Now it's Alexander Isak. And this keeper is absolutely huge, by the way.
Well, we'll all remember his goal from the penalty spot in injury time 2 seasons ago. It secured a vital win on the way to Champions League qualification at the other end of the City Ground. Isak from the spot. Newcastle's first penalty in the shootout. From the back of the box, pretty straight with the run up. Now he bends it, and Isak into the net.
Good penalty.
And he's back to form from 12 yards, having had one saved in pre-season against Girona and having been unsuccessful at Burnley at the end of last season. Alexander Isak scores a penalty.
Yeah, went straight down the middle, waited for the keeper to go. Keeper went right, straight down the middle.
Nikola Milenkovic, signed from Fiorentina in the summer, the big centre-back.
Ooh, centre-backs taking penalties.
Nottingham Forest's second penalty. Milenkovic and Nick Pope facing each other, hands on hips, back of the box. Here comes Milenkovic, rolls it into the bottom right corner. Nick Pope went the wrong way.
What did I say about centre-backs? He's just waited. Nick Pope goes, he just rolls it in the opposite corner.
Joelinton up next. The long walk forwards from halfway, where his teammates in black and white, their arms round each other, stand and watch, as do the subs and the staff. Along the touchline, Joelinton places the ball down, steps back to the 18-yard line. Carlos Miguel bangs his hands together, bobs up and down on the goal line. Joelinton with Newcastle's second penalty. It's saved by Carlos Miguel, diving to his right low down.
Well, he's gone for brute power, hasn't he? Just tried to lash it. Keeper guesses right.
Bruno Guimaraes breaks from the Newcastle group on halfway to go and speak to Joelinton and walk back with him to halfway. Wasn't quite in the corner, and the goalkeeper's got a huge reach as well. And he gets plenty of love from the fans behind the goal. So Forest lead 2-1 after two penalties. BBC Radio Newcastle, a shootout in the second round of the League Cup. Nico Williams now for the home side. Right-footed, jump beats Pope, diving to his left, bit more height on that one. Pope went the right way, but it was too far into the corner. And
good penalty again, isn't it? As you say, Nick Pope guesses right. Too much power, too much accuracy on it.
Bruno. Newcastle United's new captain against his compatriot in the Forest goal. Carlos Miguel's already saved from Joelinton. Here's Bruno Guimaraes with the penalty. Stuttering run up into the bottom corner to the goalkeeper's left, and Newcastle score their third penalty, but Forest lead 3-2.
Good penalty, wasn't it? Just tucked it in the corner. Keeper guesses right, but yet again too much pace, too much accuracy on it.
Bruno taps hands with Nick Pope, flings his arms up in the direction of the away end. They're a long way from the penalty action. Ibrahim Sangare, one of the Forest substitutes, the midfielder, puts the ball down on the penalty spot. Right-footed against Nick Pope. Pope with his arms outstretched. Oh yes! Ibrahim Sangare has hit the crossbar full on, and Nottingham Forest unsuccessful for the first time in the shootout. And Anthony Gordon with the opportunity to bring Newcastle level.
Well, he's gone high. He's gone too high. Nick Pope had gone the wrong way as well.
Yeah, smacked it to the goalkeeper's right, and Pope diving to his left. Forest players now console one of their teammates. Anthony Gordon scored in the penalty shootout in the FA Cup at Blackburn last season. He scored in the game as well that night. He got Newcastle's equaliser at Bournemouth on Sunday. Second half sub tonight. Gordon to level it up with this penalty. Anthony Gordon scores!
Brilliant.
Sends
Absolutely
the keeper the
brilliant.
wrong way, and you never doubted him, not for a second.
Just whipped his foot round it. Keeper goes the wrong way.
It is 3-3 on BBC Radio Newcastle in the penalty shootout. A 1-1 draw after 90 minutes. Nottingham Forest centre forward there, number 9, the Nigerian Taiwo Awoniyi, with their 5th penalty. Picks the ball up. Nick Pope walks to the edge of the 6-yard box. The referee tells Pope to get back.
No.
You don't fancy Awoniyi?
No. Don't fancy this kid at all.
It's a slow stride back. He retreats towards the edge of the penalty area. Now comes forwards. Awoniyi over the bar.
That is absolutely shocking.
Taiwo Awoniyi has skied it, and now Sean Longstaff can win it for Newcastle United.
That's so far over the bar, I think it's still travelling.
Awoniyi pulls his red jersey over his face. He can't bear to look. Oh, it's so high. Longstaff, he made his Newcastle United debut on this ground at this stage of the League Cup 6 years ago. Now from the penalty spot, sends them into round 3. Longstaff rolls it into the bottom right corner. Carlos Miguel goes the wrong way. They are through on penalties. They've beaten Forest 4-3 in the shootout after a 1-1 draw, after being behind in the shootout as well, following Joelinton's penalty that was saved. But Forest unsuccessful, missing their last 2. Longstaff stepped up and did the business from the spot to win it. Newcastle United with some much needed positivity, a win on penalties and progress into round 3 of the League Cup.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a lottery when it comes to penalties. It's all about who keeps their nerve. Longstaff kept his nerve really well. I mean, keeper goes the wrong way, he just waits again and just rolls it into the other corner. Forest looked like they were in control, but when Zangari hits the crossbar, and then the big centre forward Awoniyi, I don't know if you'll ever see a worse penalty, but there you go. As I say, it's a lottery. It's all about who keeps their nerve. We kept our nerve better than they did, and we're in the next round.
Joelinton had the penalty saved. That was Newcastle's unsuccessful spot kick. The others, well, they were just the job, weren't they? All of them. The 4 that scored: Isak, Bruno, Gordon and Longstaff.
Yeah. Look, all the penalties that were scored were quality penalties. The 3 that were missed were poor penalties, you know, and it comes down to who fancies it on the night, who's going to keep their cool, who's got the belief that they can put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, I couldn't believe the big centre forward Awoniyi took the penalty, because for the last 20 minutes he was treading water. He couldn't run, he couldn't walk, and yet they let him take a penalty kick. I thought they would have substituted him, but look, all you can say is we're in the next round and hope the draw's coming.
Oh, that draw's coming up. It's not straightforward, it's slightly different. Round 3 it's next month. It's split over 2 midweeks. It's to accommodate the teams in Europe, because there are extra matches in the group stage or the league format of the Champions League and the Europa League this year. That's all different. So they stagger the League Cup ties to help the teams in Europe. The European teams can't face each other. They are effectively seeded, and they've already done part of the draw to work out when the European teams will play. But there are lower league teams in there as well, alongside other Premier League sides, so who knows who they could get. It could be Manchester City away, it could be Barrow at home, or anything in between. The players have gone to the away end. Great celebrations. They've had some good trips to Nottingham over the last year or so, and they've seen off their opponents tonight on penalties. Bruno leading the players' response to the crowd. Big night for them. Newcastle getting Sandro Tonali back. A goal after 18 seconds from Joe Willock. He went off injured. Forest equalised in the 50th minute, and then it went to penalties. Despite Joe Linton having one saved, Newcastle came back after 2 Forest misses, and Sean Longstaff won it for them here on BBC Radio Newcastle. We'll be with you until about 10:30. 08000 321 333 is the number to send us WhatsApp messages on about the game, about the cup draw, about transfers, if you can bear to do that. And we'll put as many as we can to John Anderson. Newcastle United are through to round 3 of the League Cup. They have beaten Nottingham Forest at the City Ground on penalties 4-3.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
What's your clothing disaster? Lee in Hexham.
Imagine me in my classroom in a suit. We're lining the children up, and one boy puts his hand up in the line and says, "I'm not feeling very well," and he vomits all the way down me. The only thing I had to get changed into was a pair of Father Christmas trousers. So I spent the rest of the day teaching dressed as Father Christmas.
I love that, Lee. Did you ever have to wear anything else weird?
I once split my trousers down the back and had to wear a flag for the rest of the day around my lower regions.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Thank you then to Matthew Raisbeck, who's off to find Eddie Howe. He's still a part of that big group of Newcastle players and staff away to our right hand side in front of the thousands of Newcastle supporters who have not moved. Not a single one of them, may not be allowed to leave at the moment anyway, but not a single one of them has moved, and they're all celebrating. We had Sandro Tonali, who was going to push to the front of the group by the rest of his teammates to celebrate as well, because it has in the end turned out to be a celebratory return for him to competitive action. He lasted just over an hour this evening. Newcastle United are through to the third round, will be in that draw that will be made probably in about 10-15 minutes time, but as Razor alluded to earlier, it's a complicated one, it's a convoluted one, and there is no chance whatsoever of it being concluded by the time that we finish at 10:30. So our social channels will be the place to go. Our Twitter feed, formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, and our Facebook pages as well, the places to go to find out who Newcastle United do draw in the third round. It's a cup competition, John Anderson. It's all about getting through.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it wasn't the easiest draw, and when it comes to penalties, it's all about who keeps the nerve, isn't it? It's all about who fancies it.
I was worried they wouldn't be able to get down.
3 poor penalties.
See, I think you're a little bit harsh on Joe Linton, because I think that's a wonderful save. The other two that Forrest
it's not
missed,
in the middle.
yeah.
No, it's not in the middle. It's in the middle of the goal. I mean, he's hit it hard. You guess right, you get something on it.
Yeah.
The rest of them, if you look at all the rest of the penalties that were scored, they're all in the corner.
Yeah.
They're all boom, hit with pace, and then the other two.
But it's an easy thing to say, but that final, not the final penalty, the final Forest penalty from Awonyi is one of the worst penalties we'll ever see live. And that sounds to everybody like an exaggeration. It honestly isn't.
Yeah, you have to.
So far over.
Oh, it's so bad. But I couldn't believe he took one, Colin, because for 20 minutes the boy couldn't run.
And you were right. I mean, obviously you were right in hindsight that he didn't look ready to take the penalty, but the walk from the half line was so slow and so laboured, because he played 90 minutes.
He was absolutely dying. He was dead on his feet.
I'm going to read you a couple of messages. Obviously we've got a little bit less time than we thought we might have because of the penalty shootout, but there are a few messages here that I want to read out. This one is from William. He says the result camouflages a lot. The goal and a few brief spells aside, we've been poor again. The last 3 games we've given the ball away so much.
Yeah.
Forest reserves for the most part. They did make 10 changes for this game at Nottingham Forest. Jumpers in the playground in the first half. Game stretched and no control. Despite the result, we look nothing like our best, and it doesn't augur well for the season. I think this is a little bit like the first 2 games, where the result is good, but the performance, you can pick a lot of holes in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we didn't keep the ball again. We kept giving it away. Decision making was poor. Yes, we worked hard, but there's the lack of quality, you know, and people say, oh, but we got the result, but you won't keep getting results. You know, if you keep playing like that, especially against better sides. I mean, he's right in what he says. I mean, Forest made 10 changes. You could see that in the first minute when they were all over the shop, you know. But look, it's all about getting through in cup competitions. We've got through. Could it be a confidence booster? I don't know. Getting through on penalties, does that boost your confidence? We'll see what happens on Sunday against Spurs.
Yeah, and also we'll see what happens tonight as well with the draw. Because as Razor quite rightly pointed out, it could be Manchester City away, it could be Barrow at home.
Yeah.
The AFC Wimbledon got through another League Two side tonight by beating Ipswich on penalties. So we'll find out very shortly, and that match will be in the middle of September. It will be a midweek in the middle of September. One more message for the moment, or have you spotted? I thought you spotted something. No. One more message for the moment then that comes from John. Really pleased we're through, but still very worried about how we're playing. We don't seem to have a game plan. Really sloppy with passing, and the keeper actually wasn't really tested. Joelinton and Isak don't look right, but on a positive, really happy with what I saw from Tonali tonight. But we really need signings by Friday.